items on that. The minutes for 7/5/22, the special meeting on 7/26, the July claims, the June financials and for all the departments, and the August 2022 estimated payroll. Is there anything you would like to remove off that agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Call for a vote, please.
Kendall,
Yes.
Chapman,
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries. On to the next section is remarks. Remarks or inquiries by the audience not pertaining to any item on the agenda. Is there anybody here that would like to make any comments?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Yeah, would you do it over there? State your name and...
Charles Stowe. I'd just like to clarify on the water meter money that y'all supposed to be collecting. Y'all been holding it out for the last 2 months, but it says EMS funds. Now, how's that? Or did y'all rewrite it somewhere?
You mean the $12? Is that what
Yes.
you're talking about?
It said it's supposed to be from the water meters,
Uh-huh.
but on the bills it says EMS.
It goes directly to the EMS, right, Corey?
No, we
What-
collect it, and then that way we can account for it, so when we write them a check.
Right, but
Yeah.
but the check that we write goes to
Yeah.
EMS. So that money, at one point, will go directly to the EMS.
All right, where do they stand on that at this time? There's been 2 months that they filled it out, last month and this month.
The first one's prepared, and Billy and I went over it earlier, and we're just finishing up because there was a bunch of glitches in it through Encode. And it'll be in the next day, maybe 2 days.
Okay.
So that'll put it's always a month behind anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a
But
month
you'll be
behind.
getting it.
Okay.
As much time as them girls spent doing it, you're welcome to do it yourself if you want to.
No. Didn't y'all say at the golden ages in the low rent housing, because they don't have water meters, that there was exempt from it?
It don't have anything to do with the water meters.
It doesn't have
It's
it.
an occupied, those particular were, I don't remember, Corey, if you remember, or Billy
What's
might
that?
remember, the
Golden Age.
golden age. It's
There's
a
supposed to
certain
be
amount
26 of them.
because of the occupants. But that's the only ones that had that. Otherwise, it's based on an occupied resident that pays electric and water.
But if a person has 2 places, 2 water meters,
They
or where
only
they
pay
only pay once.
Okay, I live in low rent housing. I pay utilities, but I do not pay my water.
But you pay electric.
They pay their water.
But
Don't
it,
have nothing to do with
Yeah,
that.
it's
It
not
doesn't have
based
any-
on water
it's
meters,
just-
based
All right,
on
all right.
city
This
bills
this
to a
is where
resident.
this is where I'm getting confused.
Okay,
When we
yeah.
started out, it's supposed to be water meters. And
Well-
I never did hear it changed to,
We talked about it as a water meter as a way to track who had an occupied building, so somebody who had a barn or something like that didn't get charged.
Yeah.
Then it
Right.
turned into whoever we were getting for an occupied utility bill is what it's supposed to be. So like I have 3 different places I pay utility bills on, but I only pay the $12 in my house, because the other places are shops and storage and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So that, it's not a water meter, that's what we were saying, to try to find out how to,
I think we were counting.
yeah, try
Counting.
to count.
It had to do with the
and get an
count.
idea of how many it was gonna be. But that's not how we actually ended up billing it. We ended up billing it by who actually lives in a place kind of thing,
okay.
so.
Okay.
I got in on the end of it, and I know on the housings that it was, and the amount of the people that was in there, because like down here, they pay electric and water, and the tenants don't pay, so they give us a count. So those are separate from any
Yeah.
electric or water
Right.
bill.
And basically, just to clarify, the contract says that the city, within its sole discretion, will determine whether to assess the fee on the water or electric meter. So that's what we decided to go off of.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else would like to make a statement or? Okay, if not, we'll go on to item number 6, financial report by the interim city manager.
Well, it was a little rocky, but we got it in there. There's a few figures in there because it was the end of the month, and that bottom line come out like a minus 50 some hundred, but according to the budget, it wasn't alarming because we had to finish that all, the department heads, but I think we looked,
Also,
the taxes were different.
Yeah,
Quite a
but-
bit.
but also you don't put fund balance if he put fund balance to be used, but it doesn't show up on those financials. That's where it helps pick that up at the end.
That sales tax that showed that it was way off was a lump sum that
Of 80.
Dave had put in.
Now, look at the next page. And you'll see last month, I think, or the month before, where it was $80-some thousand.
March of 22.
Yeah,
So that's where that created that
Oh, okay.
difference in there.
okay.
But all in all, it was, I mean, it all come out.
Are you gonna go over any of this?
Unless y'all want me to.
I don't know that they have that in it. Do you have the one to put up there on the, that has the, general government, this one, to put on the screen?
I don't think, did he leave? I don't know that whole agenda's in here.
Yeah, go to the website. It'll be on the website.
Yeah, it'll be in the packet, yes.
I don't know where he went a while ago. Is that where, right there?
Go to the actual website, says agenda.
I didn't see where he clicked all though. He said it all over it. That's it, isn't it?
I would just come up with a new tab, like up there in the top left, just open that tab. Just click on that tab, and then go packets. It says packet HTML, agenda packet down below, not that one. I think that's just the agenda. Click back on that tab. Now click agenda packet HTML below that. Click on that. Then scroll down on this, and there should be a link that you can click on, right up a little bit. At the August 2022 presentation PDF. Either one of those, I don't know which one it is.
That's it.
And then hit PC number 5, and that would switch that.
Okay. And those are the numbers I was thinking you might want to go over, because they're the expenditures and the monthly fund balance and so on and so forth. You might kind of explain all that.
Well.
Enlarge that?
Do what?
I wish. I don't know.
Can y'all see that? Thanks.
The sales tax different on that graph. He put that in there before he left, and I don't know exactly where that was. It was a one lump sum on the sales tax. Where did it come from? On
We called them, it's right, I can't remember where they said it came from.
but as far as if you want to go down there from starting there at the top on the sales tax, that's a lot of difference because that 81,565 went in there. But the others are pretty comparable. We were a little bit different last month, 2% higher. But then on the other revenue, we were 3% lower. The transfer in and the MUA.
That stays the same, pretty much.
We hurriedly went through this thing because we wanted to get it on there and didn't get to look at that 0%.
That's fine,
That-
because it's the same every month.
It's the same on the last month on
Mhm.
transfers in.
Yes.
And, I don't know why that difference is there on the total for the minus 9% for last month, and then last year it was the 7%. I still think that kicks in on that 81,000 for the total.
I guess what I was looking at was at the total expenditures and then monthly fund balance, which is
It
huge.
is, but it was the end of the year
Okay.
that's for June. And
Yeah, I know
we had
that.
lots of, everybody had to put their receipts in for June, everybody that had a claim against the city, because we didn't want to pay anything that was due in June in January. So it's
Or in
large
July.
there.
You should have had
In
our
July.
payroll, some of our payroll increases should show for this month too.
Yes.
Not on that
Voted in,
month,
should
it'll be
start.
the next month.
It'll be in
It'll
July.
be next month?
Yeah.
Okay.
And-
It was coming up.
Yeah.
The I know that shows that negative on the general government, on the total, and the Mangum Utility Authority is that negative, but the total account balances down there were still okay. But some of the departments went over, some of them was under, I mean, in the end on their budget. And some of that is gonna show up on that because there's difference in their budget, but some of them had stuff through the year that they had to go over on, and we allowed that. Y'all are fixing to take care of one on this. I mean, there's just no way around it.
Yeah.
But a bunch of it shows up at the end because it's on June.
Okay. You don't see any major problems or issues there?
Nope. It's practically that way every June if you'll go back.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have a question or a comment on the use tax, sales tax, and the report?
I do have an ask. So we still show some money's going into a golf budget. Can we find out what that's for and why that's still there and where that's going?
Insurance?
Property
Is that what that is?
insurance. Yeah.
Okay.
Property and
That's
liability.
part of what we're supposed to maintain. I was just curious because I wasn't sure what the amount was.
We talked to the school the other day. I mean, if you want to ask about the golf, we went and got some golf carts so we could start painting these fire hydrants. And we asked them about those carts, and they don't want anything to do with them. They said all they want to do is the course and all that. And
So we have carts in that barn out there? How many do we have?
some of them, I think there's about
There
8.
was
There may be
10
9.
to begin with, but
That we own?
Yes,
Yes.
and they're all gas. Some of them don't run, but we're gonna check in on that because that,
I
I
didn't
think
realize we
Burbeck's
still
here.
had them.
yeah,
Mr.
I
Verbeck's
know.
been on it, and if y'all don't, if you hadn't seen them, fire hydrants are looking
Oh,
bright and red.
Yeah, I sure
Yeah.
was wondering what you were doing the other day, man, but
Yeah.
But they're taking care of, now we're doing the water, that's not in on the budget, is it? I don't know how
It-
we
it
do
comes
that
out of a
when we
different
read
fund.
that.
Yeah.
But the budget's for the insurance on the building.
Okay.
and-
Yes.
Okay, any other questions, comments?
See him, I mean, it's Mayor, I think,
I had to get my glasses, but
Okay.
I was just looking for him.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, then we'll go on to number 7, discussion and possible action to approve the resolution 2023-02, amending the FY '23 airport operations budget for aviation fuel. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion.
What,
There was 12,000 in the budget to buy airplane fuel. It's skyrocketed, and we can only hold, well, I guess we could hold the full load, but that's astronomical, but a half load's 2,500 gallons, and at their cost, it was 14,000, which was 2,000 over the budget. And if you order anything less than 2,500, it goes up 20 cents.
Oh, my goodness.
are we getting through it though? Are we getting through that quantity of fuel?
Sure, and we run out, so that's the reason we done it, was because we're selling quite a bit of it. Well, if we went down and they put the 20 cents on, then we have to turn around and put the 20 cents on. And buying it at the $14,000 load, we could actually leave our sale price less, right close to less than what it was gonna cost you for the 2,500. So there was a $2,000 difference there, but it was because they had to shorten their half a load. Cause we split a load like with Sayer or whoever needs a half a load. So, it's just a difference in getting the quantity.
Okay. And the resolution is, I don't have a copy of that resolution. right here in front of me. What's the resolution say, Butch, or Billy? What's the resolution say?
It's just changing that budget to 14,000.
Oh, okay, okay.
12,000 to
Okay,
15.
okay, so it's just changing the budget to cover the expense.
That extra 2,000.
Okay,
I don't know what we're gonna do, and that, we're selling the fire out of it. I
That's
mean,
good.
We've sold some every day since we got it.
A lot of folks, a lot of airports are doing a surcharge when gas goes above a certain datum, so like $5 or whatever it is. I don't know what it's running at right now, but that's what I've seen a lot of the airports around here doing. It's, plane rental wet is X number of dollars per hour, plus a surcharge if if fuel's over a certain amount. So we may look at doing something like that if it gets too much higher.
well, we went, what was that last load, 20 cents is what we was making? No, 15. What was it?
15 cents a
15
gallon?
or 20 cents a gallon.
We were making 20 cents a
Yeah,
gallon?
and this load, staying under that and saving that 20, we went to making 35 cents a gallon. So, I mean, we're helping ourselves,
Well,
but we're gonna need to do something when this runs out, if y'all wanna continue to sell.
The other one lasted, what did I tell you, from February to June, basically.
It was bought in February.
Okay,
And we're
Pretty good.
at what was that, $5.95?
Yes, sir.
We are cheaper than everybody around here, or equal, other than Sayre. And Sayre was the only one cheaper than us, I think, was that what we looked at. But it was only one cheaper.
we just
than
need to
us.
stay cheaper than Altus.
We're cheaper than Altus. And we couldn't, that's the reason we done this and then brought that to you, because we couldn't have done that without saving that 20 cents on the purchase.
Okay, all right, we have a motion and a second. Would you call for a vote, please?
Kendall,
Yes.
Chapman,
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Motion carries. Going on to item number 8, update from SWOTA on the infrastructure opportunities. Yes, hello, come and introduce yourself and,
Hello, my name's Lisa Church. I'm with SWOTA. There are some new opportunities that we're seeing come from the infrastructure bill. We've talked about this a little bit, the lead-based pipe, that's through DEQ. I just went to a workshop a few weeks ago on that. They don't have all of the details worked out. They're still getting that finalized, but there is some stuff coming down on that, and we're keeping on top of it. As soon as we have more details, we'll share that with you guys. OWRB, Oklahoma Water Resources Board, there's all of the ARPA money for water and sewer is gonna run through OWRB.
okay,
Even the state funding, from what we're hearing, is gonna go through OWRB. The ARPA money that the state has, that's gonna go through water and sewer, will probably be funded through OWRB as well. So they're gonna have a lot of money. The REAP projects will have lots more money than it's ever had in the past, because it's always been limited. They have a REAP grant, so does SWOTA, so they're two separate funding sources. What we would like to see, our REAP grant this year has been increased quite a bit. So our REAP grant is now $100,000 and there's no match.
no match?
No match. So I would encourage all of our cities and towns, especially you guys, to use that money for engineering. Because if you have a project that is shovel-ready, OWRB is gonna look at that and you're gonna go up on the list. Versus if you go to OWRB and you're having to ask for engineering and your project, you're gonna go towards the bottom of the list. So one of the things that we've kind of talked about, engineering is an approved project for REAP. So I
Okay.
would really encourage our cities and towns, you've got $100,000 sitting on the table that you don't have to match. It's kind of a no-brainer. If you could get your
Yeah.
engineering done for your project, that's gonna give you a better chance with OWRB. Now,
Okay.
that's not saying you're gonna get it the first year with OWRB, but this is 5 years of funding.
Okay,
ARPA money's 5 years. So, cities and towns, we all know, you don't always get it the time you want it. Sometimes projects takes 2 or 3 years before you get all your funding lined out. So keep in mind, if you get your engineering done this year, or even next year, your funding could come from OWRB the next year.
okay.
So those are things that you need to be thinking about and planning now, and planning out for the next 3 or 4 years as this funding funnels out for the next 5 years.
But if we get an engineer and we get the $100,000, is it just how much the engineer cost? What happens if he costs a little less than $100,000?
Then you wouldn't use the whole 100,000. You
Okay,
would get an
get it
estimate
back.
from the engineer.
Okay.
You'd have to have an estimate from the
And then they
engineer
would
to
pay.
apply
It'd
for
be
the
up
REAP
to
grant.
100,000?
Mm-hmm, yes.
Okay,
Another one that I talked to your city clerk about just a little bit, this one the guidelines aren't done yet, they're still working on it, but it is through the Department of Energy. They have $1 billion for electrical grants.
Okay.
And those grants are up to $200 million
This is
per
what it
year
is
for the
doing
next
for
5
power
years.
plant.
So we're looking at those closely. We're watching those. I'll email those over to your clerk.
And when
More
you say
information.
electrical, kind of give me an idea about the things that would be top on the list about what we would want to do.
Cost of effectiveness of energy generation, transmission, or distribution systems, upgrading transmission and distribution lines, reducing greenhouse gas emissions from energy generation by rural and remote areas. And keep in mind, this is for communities 10,000 or below.
Okay.
So that would be for our power plant.
That's the power plant.
That's your power
Power
plant.
plant money that we need.
That's your power plant.
And we've already got the engineering
Yeah.
in the works for that.
Yeah, I
so
started to say, I knew you guys were working on
Yeah,
that part
well,
of
we
it.
already voted to have it done. I don't know where we're at on it. I think it was a 3-month wait before we got anything back from them, so I
There was
think
an email.
Okay,
Did you
next
so,
read it?
month
and-
is when we should start hearing something from those guys.
I think so.
But-
And there again, shovel
They
ready.
wanted to know
Yeah.
who to contact.
That's a buzzword. Guys, anytime you're shovel ready, you've got engineering done, that pushes you up on a grant list. Like, you're up at the top to get funded. So I can't emphasize that enough.
Okay.
So we're watching this one very close. They do not have all the guidelines yet in place. They're building those guidelines. This money's come out so fast that these organizations, they just haven't had time. Like, it takes a while to set up a grant and to set up how it's gonna be funded and that type of thing. So they're working on that. We are watching that. That's kind of what we do. So
That's
we're
what we
working
want
on
you to do.
So we're watching that one really close for you guys. Other than that, we are gonna have a funding workshop. Dana, I'm gonna need some help with that on September 28th. And we will be sending all you guys invitations
Oh,
to that.
okay.
And we're gonna have, hopefully, I think so far we have USDA, DEQ, hopefully OWRB, film industry, somebody else. We're working on getting all our speakers, but that's gonna be an all-day event at SWOTA. Transportation, ODOT, yeah, ODOT's the other one.
Oh, okay.
So, because there's funding for transportation as well. So just a brief update.
All right. Thank you very much. Anybody have any
It's all good.
questions?
I know, right?
I appreciate it.
We
Yeah.
love
We
this
love
money.
it. You know,
We
you're
love all this
welcome
money.
anytime. You can come tell us
Thank you,
that.
guys. We love that kind of reception. So, and like I said, we're getting this out to you guys as much as we can. We're trying to get it to all our cities and towns. So,
And as always, just if we need to jump on the gun for something, let us know, because we want to
Yeah,
get that.
we'll
that
be on
power
the
plant's
phone.
near and dear to, I think, everybody's heart, so we want to make
Yeah.
sure we get that one going for sure.
well, and
so.
that's what I do. I'm the grant writer there at SWOTA. I've wrote grants for 15 years. I like to get money into communities.
And you still seem so pleasant. Like,
I know, right? I actually like writing grants.
there you
I
go.
know people think I'm really weird for that, but I really do. So, but yes, we're working on it. We're watching these guidelines. That's why we're having that meeting to get that information out to all of our cities and towns. So, yeah.
Excellent, thank you.
If you need
Thank you very
anything,
much.
you guys call us as well.
Okay.
Like if you see something, you want us to look at it, that's what we're there for.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. Appreciate all that information. Okay, going on to item number 9, discussion of possible action with regard to reviewing a structure built upon a sewer easement in the Ranchera First Edition in the city of Mangum, with possible presentation on the feasibility and cost to reroute the sewer line and vacating the current easement. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Now it's discussion, please, at that time. What's this all about?
You want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead. So we already moved the electric, right? Like, this is all we got left? No. Oh, boy.
I think Dustin Tooney's building their new house over there, and that y'all had vacated a portion of this easement that didn't have anything in it. The other leg had the sewer in it, which I think when you get built, it'll have your tap and Mickey has 2. So there'll be 3 taps in there, so there's no way around this. And I think there were some misunderstandings about building on it. And Corey's talked to Gary Brickley, and y'all have a picture of a proposed route on it, of getting it where they can leave their structure and see how y'all want to work this out.
Okay, Dustin, go ahead and introduce yourself and.
I'm Dustin Lively. So, Dave, this has kind of been I don't know, it's been confusing to me. I will just say that. So, there's two lots that we purchased. The house is being built on the lot to the south that is right, sitting on Mesquite, where you're looking at your map there. To the back of the lot, or the second lot, which is to the north, is where we built a barn. So both structures are in place. The easement runs east and west, right through between those. On the back side of the house, which the majority of the house sits to the south of the easement, okay? There's a small structure and it's drawn in there, a little patio that we put on the back of the house that sits on the easement. When I talked to Dave, he said, as long as you give access to where we can get in there to the sewer line, you're fine. So the sewer line is marked, if I'm not mistaken, Corey, is that right? The very south line that runs east and west?
Yeah, it says SS or something like that.
Yeah, I can't see that, but anyway,
I can't see that.
it's so small. But running from,
Dotted line.
yeah, the very,
Okay.
the very south of those lines that are kind of running through the middle of the lots, that's the sewer line. And it goes underneath the patio. And when I was talking to Dave, he came over there, I was showing him what we wanted to do, and he said, as long as you can give access and we can get to the sewer line, if you ever had any trouble, that's not a problem. So that's what we did. It is a structure that has a roof that comes off the back of the house. There is a panel that comes out off the west side of the porch, if you will, that can be removed. And then the floor of it, we were just gonna put some pavers or something. We weren't gonna concrete it in. When Butch came over, initially he thought that my brother's house, which is Jewett Scott's old house, sits over across the road. He initially thought that that sewer line ran south into the addition around the nursing home, which it does not. So it goes down his driveway to his barn.
There's a starter hole behind Mickey's that goes south, and we thought Mickey's, when Jewett bought that, tied in to the west, or to the east, not actually south. But it doesn't.
Yeah, so his sewer goes from his driveway to the north to his barn driveway and then across my backyard. And I was just talking to Corey, I mean, if he ever has any trouble, I'm just gonna put him a porta potty in his driveway. And I feel like that would probably be okay.
Can of wasp spray.
No, but he's the only one that is tied in to that line. There's nothing else on it that comes underneath there. The initial conversation that we had was about the electric, and that's what you were asking, did we not get that? And the easement that has been granted to the north of the barn, and that's all on the north side of his property that we purchased off of Brian and Cheryl Lively, we granted that easement, granted the easement that goes all the way back around to the transformer. That initially was all that Dave told us that he would like to see done, because it goes under, the electric line currently is in the existing easement, goes under my brother's barn, and that's what Dave was concerned about, was getting that, moved over and moved to the north of the property. But, I'm whatever y'all, I'm just needing to know what to do. I mean, if we want to move the sewer line, or if you're wanting to move the sewer line, then, that's fine. I know Corey was mentioning maybe just permission to go around the structure if we ever had trouble, which I'm fine with. I mean, I just need to know what we need to do. But as far as the electrical, nothing has been done. I know Butch
He's
has,
contacted two of them, but we haven't
Okay.
heard back on the.
so we're still waiting on estimates to see kind of what that is going to run. But those easements have been given to you. You've approved the easements. We vacated the northwest easement on the other side of the
So
barn.
that one's all sorted though.
Yeah, that's all sorted. It's ready to lay the line. It's just getting,
Speed of
bids
government.
together and getting the supplies and all of that. But I guess tonight, really, Butch, what we're talking about is the sewer. I mean, that's what we're here
The
tonight to
structure
discuss.
being built on the,
So
On a sewer.
Is the
Sewer
addition,
easement.
it wasn't, it's not a concrete slab, it's pavers?
There's nothing there now. It's dirt.
There's
there's a footing
Okay.
going across. He's broke the footing. He's come up, I don't know how many feet, do you know?
There's 6 feet, there's 3 feet on either side of the sewer line.
He's broken where
that-
they can get in there, but it's got a top on it, and we don't have a mini excavator, we have a backhoe, and it's, I mean, that was my concern, is right there at that manhole being impossible with a backhoe.
Well, let me see if I can repeat this correctly. The line running north and south, is that a proposed line?
The heavy dark line, that is, if you were going to move it, that's the only route you can take to move it. And that is because of how flat it is behind Mickey's house. You can't get the right slope
Gotcha.
going that way.
So the lightly dotted line is the current line?
Yes.
And the only person on that is Mickey?
Yes.
Mhm.
So, I don't see an issue with doing the around allowance. That'd probably be the easiest thing to do. If there's an issue, we just dig it out and go around.
Around the existing, just that little square,
The
like
concern would
go
be
north and
the
around.
Monetary concern, I mean, because it's gonna be, did you get a price on that?
20 grand to put a new sewer line that goes south and then back to the east into Mickey's line. That would be about upwards of $20,000.
To do that whole dark line.
Yeah,
Which is 250 foot, right? Is that what you said?
250 feet of new line.
Of new
He
sewer.
priced it at 50 foot of line plus about 5 grand to drop a new service line and cover the road is kind of what his estimates were.
Now, you talking about a new service line to Mickey's barn? Well, actually, you wouldn't have to do that. Because the manhole in front of Mickey's would be where you would terminate it going over to Dustin's. And you could leave that tied in and go to the manhole in his driveway and tie that line in there.
Mhm.
Because his house and barn would still be tied in. So you could tie into the manhole in Mickey's driveway.
Yeah, but it wouldn't flow.
There's none of
I mean, it flows to the north.
Oh, that's right. I keep thinking it's coming back to his house.
Yeah.
It was 5,000 for a new manhole and then $50 a foot plus a little extra to recover, pave the road and do the service.
So this, if there's an issue and we have to do something when the time comes, what was the estimate for going around having to do that? Do we have any idea what that's gonna cost?
If you go with the existing manhole, as long as Dustin doesn't build, we'll recon it to go north and around and just tie into that existing line. Well, that's all you're doing is you're going north a little bit, then over, and then coming back to the sewer line, so you're not having, it's $50 a foot of pipe. So whatever that distance would be.
Well, we don't
30
have
feet.
$20,000
Yeah.
to spend to do it. The bottom line is, I mean, we need to figure out something different, I'm assuming, right, Corey? Does anybody have, I mean,
If we go around to the north, is that gonna upset anything else you're trying to build?
There's not enough fall going north, correct?
Even just around that little structure?
I think you
He's
can,
talking about going around the little
Oh.
structure that's there.
and then
I
tying
think
to the
that's what
existing
they're,
sewer line.
I mean, you're talking 8-inch lines, so it's not as easy to just,
yeah.
I mean, you need enough space in there to get your 90s and your 45s, and I don't know what they'll do, but that's, I mean, it's gonna take several feet to go around it. That manhole is what, 4 feet from your structure?
It's probably
48 to
6
60 inches?
feet from it.
It's, so I mean, you're gonna have to give us enough room there too to work on the manhole and not damage the structure. I mean, it's,
What do you want to do? I mean, I'm just here to, I'm at your mercy, Butch. I don't know.
I'm not opposed to routing it, but I can't, I mean. we
it's
don't-
almost like an engineer needs to tell us that.
We don't, he's talked to an engineer, but our concern is the 20,000. I don't
Well,
have any.
that's,
I
Okay,
mean,
is that,
to me, that's, I don't know why we're even talking about that. I mean, why can we not go around this little porch
That's
if
what
we
I'm
ever have
thinking.
trouble?
If we
I
can
mean,
go around
what-
it,
How can we go around it and I mean, we're moving the electric and you're gonna put your pool there.
Well, but I can stay out of a space big enough that allows you, if there's ever trouble, I mean, we allow enough room for you to get an 8-inch line to come around there to tie into the existing sewer.
Well, could we have that gentleman come back and tell us like how much room we would be looking at? Or is that something you think you could do, is have the guys go out there and kind of graph out how much area to go around that you would need to work in?
I'd rather
Or
have
would
an
you rather-
engineer look at
You
it.
would rather have like, could that guy?
But if you're,
Oh,
if you're doing
pull that
this,
up.
you're defeating your purpose of going around and spending the money for the electrical. Because if you route that sewer around there, you're not gonna be able to put your pool there.
No, I was never gonna build where the sewer line is.
Well, that 7,200's within 4
The
or 5 feet of that.
7,200 I do need moved. I mean, I would like to have it moved, and that was the whole thing. The electric line runs east and west, but it's like at the north end of the easement, right?
You okay?
The
Hey,
sewer
we got some
runs,
questions, talk about that thing. Could you answer some questions real quick?
But you're gonna have to go
Okay.
back to
I'm gonna
the
put you on
east
speaker.
to start your turn for your acreage.
This is Gary Jones, who works with Gary Brickley, and he's the one who did the survey and stuff like that. Gary, we're talking about that map, we're all looking at it, can you kinda give the two suggestions you gave me?
Yeah, if you don't wanna go through all that rigmarole there, I don't think there's an issue with that sewer line. But if there is, it appears to me the only thing crossing it that's over it is the garage area. So we could take the sewer line to the north and up around the garage and come back and tie it in and do that, and not have to replace the whole thing.
And how much feet would you need to do that?
Probably maybe 100 feet at the most, Corey.
That's 100 feet to go from the existing manhole up north around the structure and slide back to the existing line. You would need 100 feet.
Yeah, something like that. I'd have to do a little bit more digging into that to be exact with you, but yeah, probably 100 to maybe. It wouldn't be near as much as what we got right now, though, for sure.
Do you think you could keep your DEQ slope requirement if you do that?
I think possible. It's still, that whole area is pretty flat,
Mm-hmm.
but I think we could route it around there and keep at least the minimum flow that's required.
Okay. And now, how much surface area would you need? Like, if the person's building the house, how much space would he need to leave you to reroute that line if need be?
Oh, if we had 10 foot of width, we'd be okay, I think.
Do you think you could do that?
Yeah, I think we could.
I mean, I just have to look at it and see, but I think so.
So he's talking about the 100 feet. Where would he start east of that structure?
Where would you start east of, do you got that map in front of you, Gary?
No, I don't, Corey, but
Okay.
I kind of remember it. But
Okay, with that structure that's on the existing easement, where would you tie back on east of that?
I would just tie on just east of the garage area, unless we could take it all the way down the property line and drop it back in down on the street.
Okay,
If you're wanting to build in that area right there.
okay,
Of course, that'd be a little bit more footage, but it could be done.
okay. But you think you can go like north out of that manhole and then 90 back to the east and 90 back to the south? Is that what you're thinking about doing, or would you want to angle it from north of the
I think,
structure back to the line?
I think we could 90 it. We might need to put it really wouldn't hurt to have a manhole somewhere in that line.
What if we done away with the manhole that's there and moved it back northwest in that angle?
What about relocating that manhole back to the north and then angling it?
That's a possibility too, and then taking it to the west off of there and bringing it back and tying it in. We got several options there that I think would work.
I'd rather do that as 90 and 8 inch, because these guys are gonna fight 90s and stopping these.
Okay, well, so you're saying we could probably make it work as long as Dustin, who's building the property, gives you about 10 feet to work on to lay that line. But you don't think there's an
Yeah.
issue right now, right?
No, I do not think it's an
Okay.
issue right now. There's not no, to my knowledge, there's no known problems with any of that line, so I don't really think you're gonna have any.
Okay. Now, I do think when Dustin builds his house there, he's gonna tie in that area, right?
Well, I mean, it
Right,
just
I
depends
would
on where the
think so.
final line lays. I mean, we haven't tied in yet, so.
But that won't cause any more issues, that won't cause any issues either, right?
No, it shouldn't cause any at all if it's
He can
installed
come out of
correct,
that
you know.
structure and tie in, come to the east a little bit.
So you're, Gary, just to clarify, option one is we could reroute it, and it's about $50 a foot, plus $5,000 for a manhole, plus other issues as far as like potentially new service line. And you said that was gonna be about 20 grand to go south and back east, or we wait for there to be a problem. As long as Dustin gives you about 10-foot surface clearance, you might be able to just reroute it north on that structure.
But you got a secondary, you got
Right,
an
I
underground
believe that'd work.
secondary where he's talking about moving it to.
There is an underground secondary at that location as well.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that, but,
Okay.
What issues will that cause? Is any?
I really still don't think there's an issue, Corey. I mean,
Okay.
I can do a little more research if you guys want us to.
Okay,
We need to do
I
that
can
probably.
dig into it a little bit deeper and maybe plot you out 2 or 3 different options that look like they'll work.
okay. Anybody else have any questions?
Harold was gonna make a comment. Did you?
I was gonna ask, we got electric there, and I know it's a little different on the grade, but is there a way we could drop a sump pump and go straight over toward Mickey? Same thing. It's sort of like what our lift station is, when you have a float on it, when it gets so high, you kick it over back to the east,
It flows from the east.
okay, but then you can go to the north with it, or whatever.
It'd be the same difference what we're talking without a
Okay.
sump pump.
All right, never mind, I'm sorry, I thought maybe we could drop one in real quick and go across, and use fast to go north. All right.
Okay.
Could,
Gary.
hey, Gary,
Yes, sir. Yes.
would you also, when you make that recommendation, show us where Mr. Lively could tie in to that existing line that'll keep him clear of where we're talking about rerouting?
Sure, I can. We can give you some, we can kind of replot it 2 or 3 different directions or different ways for you, give you some options of where to tie in, and give you some ideas there.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be glad to do that. I need to go up there. I sent a guy up there and he shot it all for me and kind of laid it out, but I'll go myself and look at it and we'll come up with we can come up with at least a couple different options, I'm sure.
Okay. When you do that, can you just contact maybe Butch and see if he's available to go out there with you as well, so y'all can talk through it?
Yeah, and if you'll just text me his phone number or something, I'll get a hold of him and
Okay.
try to get up there in the next couple days sometime.
That will work.
That'll work.
Any other
Okay,
Thank you, Gary.
so what we're really looking at here is waiting until he
All
comes
right,
back
thanks,
down.
Gary. No
I
problem.
know. Are you in a,
You're welcome. All right.
what's your timeline?
Oh, I mean, I'm fine. I just
Okay.
need to know what to do.
Well,
Before we get into doing all this, are you still wanting your pool where you,
It'll be fine. I mean, if you leave that existing sewer line where it's at,
but he's got to come down east to
Well, he
tie
said-
into Angle.
right, he said he could come in at an angle, or he could go all the way to the road to the east. My thoughts are, if you go at an angle, that building or that structure is 15 by 15.
Well, what
And so
I was
it's only-
thinking, if you're okay with moving your pool a little bit north, we could go just east of your structure,
Yeah,
get on the north side of it, and move that manhole and go up into
Yeah.
the easement over in the middle and put that manhole there.
probably, if it's okay, the best thing is if I'm there and you're there and he's there,
That's
and
what I
we
was gonna
talk through
say.
it.
that's
I
what
mean,
I,
So
that's
here-
what I was
I
thinking.
think we're
Here's my
spinning our wheels.
suggestion is, there's not a problem with it right now, we're not gonna do anything about it. you leave your structure there,
Right.
we'll have the Sonoma come out.
Right.
Tell us what needs to happen in
Right.
case there is a future problem.
Right.
If there is a future problem, we've left space, we can deal with whatever.
And if we decide to go ahead and do it now, so there's no issue
And then
with
he'll
the
give you a place
structure,
to tie in, that leaves it clear of any
That's fine.
future issues, and you should
yeah,
be good to go.
I'm good with it.
Does that
Okay,
sound reasonable?
Yep.
sounds
Okay.
reasonable. So at this point, we don't need a motion or, a vote or anything. There'll be no action on this right now
Yeah,
until we know a little bit more?
Yeah, until we know.
Till we know more? Okay.
okay.
All right, thank you, Dustin, I
You bet.
appreciate it. And so therefore, there will be no action on number 9.
Tabling it, right, Mary Jane Scott?
Yeah, ought to be.
Table,
It's gotta be tabled now.
tabled, well, either one actually, but that's okay. That need, table that till a future, right. Okay, thank you. Number 10, discussion and possible action to approve the application for placement of a mobile home at 621 South Louis Hittle. This was tabled to this meeting for more information. The customer has been contacted about being at this meeting to answer questions if needed. Do I have a motion?
Make the motion.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, discussion now at this time.
Are the people
Is she
here?
here?
Yes.
Yes, they're here.
Young, come
That's you
on.
guys, okay, if you wanna.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello. I know some of the questions last time were, there was confusion on one person owning the property, another person owning the trailer, who was gonna, how all that, you guys were related, nobody knew how you were related, so kind of break down that information.
Go ahead and introduce yourself first.
I'm Sherry Rockhold.
Okay,
I'm from here, Greer County, most of my life. My grandparents, my parents, on my mother's side, have all been here. Most of our kids have gone to school here. So they know the Rockholds, the Johnsons. That's where this property came in. It was my great-grandfather's, and I ended up with it. Well, now I have a granddaughter, daughter-in-law and granddaughter, that need a place to live. We've come up with a trailer house, and we want to put the trailer house on that property. When I got it, I added another 2 lots to the 3 that my grandpa had. So I have 5 lots up there now. Plenty of room to put her little bitty trailer house. I say hers. She's bought it. It's going down there. It will never be moved from there. When she decides to move on to bigger and better, gets on her feet and gets going, it will stay there and it will be mine. So it's a joint venture between me and the daughter-in-law so that her and the grandbaby have a place to live and can't be kicked out and can't be moved around, and she's tired of it. Okay.
Corey, have we got all the information we needed with the, was everything done, the number of people that signed off and everything?
Last
I think we
heard
like
was-
2 people.
They're like 2, and the reason we brought it to y'all is the ordinance says the tenant has to be the property owner. And I think that was on 2, wasn't it?
He had a letter in there that listed everything, I'm not sure.
Well, I think we had discussed about, that if we got this to go through and do everything, then we'll do a lease with her where she leases the lot that she's putting the trailer house on from me for the duration.
This is Kelly Parrish, our previous code enforcement, and this was his letter that he sent last month. And have you brought anything into Gordon since last month? The applicant has not obtained 75% of the signatures from the property owner. Ordinance says they have to obtain 75% in agreeance within a 500-foot radius of her property. there are 33 eligible property owners within the required distance. Ms. Rocco needs a total of 25. She reached the requirement to reach that. Currently, Ms. Rocco has 23 signatures. It has not been determined how the manufactured home will improve the surrounding area. The manufactured home will be located on a lot of at least 7,500 square feet, which that's fine. Only one mobile home will be placed on the single tract of land proposed site, and there will be no other habitable dwellings on said lot. The only thing he doesn't have in there is that ordinance says that the tenant has to be the owner.
So at this time, are you trying to, are you wanting to ask us to not go by that ordinance that we have? Is that what's going
Well,
on?
I
Because
mean, the trailer house is gonna be mine.
Yeah.
When she's no longer using it, it will be mine,
Right.
and it'll be there forever.
But the ordinance says that you're supposed to live in it.
So I'll move my happy rear end in with it. I'll be there all the time anyway, taking care of the grandbaby.
There you go. That's what grandmas are for, right?
Map on where they want it
I take care of all the time
That's
anyway.
the whole thing. We can't change the ordinances. We cannot,
Right.
we just cannot say, oh, well, you can do it. But we have an ordinance by law that we have to go by.
With her working, and she's not here because she finally got a job, yay!
Oh.
And Walmart at Elk City. And so when we get this done, and we get them moved in and everything, the baby will be going to school here. So yes, I will have to be here. So technically, I will be living there.
Well, it can't be just technically. You have to be living
Yeah,
there.
I will be. Yeah, I mean,
Well, right now, correct me if I'm wrong, Corey, we can't approve it because you need the two other signatures, and then we need, I've seen it.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's where we were having
Yeah.
difficulties getting
Right.
the last two signatures, because everybody else that owns property in that area
uh-huh.
is out of town. We got
Oh.
signatures of everybody that lives
That lives there, and these
in
others.
Mangum or,
Yeah,
you know.
I know what you
And
mean.
then the others are out of state.
Yeah,
And it's been really difficult to get in contact with
Mhm.
I
anybody.
think that part's probably waivable due to that fact alone. The issue being is the actual legal ownership of the mobile home and the property.
And who lives
not
there.
matching.
yeah.
Right, so because it's an ordinance and it says like word for word that the owner has to be the landowner, you'd have to have the paperwork to show that you own the thing.
That you own the trailer as well,
That you own the
Okay.
trailer.
That-
No, that you're living in it.
and that you're living there, like the document.
Does it say occupancy or does it just say owner? I thought it just said
Owner,
owner.
not.
Yeah, so you have to
So-
transfer the ownership into your name legally
If
for us
we-
to approve it by the ordinance.
What you're saying, if we
Which-
buy the trailer off of her, we can set it on our lots that we already own.
Then we can approve it. Right now, it's up against
Okay.
that ordinance
Okay.
thing, right?
That's all I need to know then,
Yeah.
right there.
It also states in there, the new state statute, and we go into the state statutes, that it should be set up by a licensed.
Yeah, it's gotta be set up by a company. and
Installer.
all that, so.
And
I
I
don't
told
know
Jessica,
where you're getting
I
at
don't-
that.
well-
I've done mobile homes for a lot of years.
things
I've
have
pulled them
changed.
84-foot mobile homes up in Amarillo. I worked for Mustang Mobile Home. I serviced and set up mobile homes for years. And there is nowhere that says you have to have a licensed guy to set it up, because we set them up all over Hereford, everywhere. Some of them in some of them in Oklahoma. And we didn't have license. You don't have license to set them up. You have driver's license, the CDL license to pull the trailers to where you're going.
Mhm.
But you do have codes to go by. You gotta, for whatever feet the trailer is, you gotta have a hurricane strap. You gotta have so many blocks under it, you know. Most of them require 18-inch by 4-inch flat blocks, 2 concrete blocks with a 1-inch.
The codes have
12-inch.
changed on them. It's either gotta be on a footing, or it has to be on what they call an ABS pad. I think it's 36 by 36. And he's right on the tie downs. I'm just saying this because I don't wanna okay it and y'all are not aware of that, because the
So-
state statute,
I think the issue is right now is the ownership thing, because that's what's directly in
Okay.
violation of our ordinance,
That's
right?
not a
That ain't
problem
no
either.
trouble, I
So,
can buy it off of.
We gotta fix that part
Yeah.
before we can go any further from that.
I'll do that.
As far as what the state statute says, I believe you, but just need to verify exactly what all that's going to be and how that affects us, and whether or not we can say yes or no, right? So, that is a Corey thing, I believe, which I think that's what he's doing now, or he's playing Angry Birds, I'm not sure.
Angry Birds.
Are you trying to look it up?
So, once the ownership issue's dealt with,
Yes,
then
I
we,
can
then
do
we're
that
not in
with
violation of our
the-
ordinance,
And
we go
I'll-
forward.
Also,
He come in.
The-
607 South.
just about.
You gotta put that trailer house on them two pot lots north and sold to it. He put it in there, set it, tied it down, walk off, moved in.
Well, what they did in the past, we can't. I can't help that.
Well, I'm just saying, that guy right across the
Okay.
street from us, he put his in there, and he done a lot of
And then
setting
called
up
me
on
after
it,
the
you know.
fact that he needed
But
signatures.
anyway,
And-
when he needs signatures.
Yeah,
he
that
calls.
part,
And-
I'm
and
not
also-
100% on how that goes. Like I said, the
Yeah.
ownership I do know is in the ordinance, it's wrote that way, so
Okay.
that's the part we
And
have.
That ain't no problem.
I
I can
don't-
buy that trailer off of her, set it in there, and then she can live in it if so be, you know, 'cause she's my kinfolk. So, but anyway, and she don't be there all the time. She's aiming to move on as quick as she can get her feet under her.
Into a bigger
So
and better.
Corey,
So
what,
is it
what
so-
do we have to have?
Y'all be making money off of it, 'cause we got, well, we already paid y'all
Already.
everything to have utilities on down there, and we ain't got nothing down there right now, you know.
They haven't
But
done
what-
anything but set the poles, so.
Yeah, yeah,
And I need electricity down there so I can do
Right.
any kind of work down there.
sure.
But
Totally understand
And
that.
preferably water too, because, you know, it's hot.
Yeah.
and
So
I'd
we've
like
got
to cool
two,
off.
Corey, we got two issues here. The one that whether she's living in it or not, and the property has to be owned by you guys, her.
No, the owner of the I'm looking that up. The owner of the manufactured home has to be the occupant.
So they have to live there.
If they're not
So the occupant.
the owner, can you still put it there?
Does it have anything to do with the property it goes on? So if she owns it and she's gonna live in it, that checks that box, but does it matter who owns physical property?
All ours says is the manufactured home. The owner of the manufactured home is always the occupant.
It doesn't say anything about the land it's on.
None of that one.
I mean, way I look at it, y'all gonna be benefiting out of the deal, you know, and everything.
And we do, but we gotta go by the law, you know.
Yeah, I understand that
You know,
too,
it's
you know,
just,
but,
and we want you to be able to do that and all of
Well,
that, but we just
And
gotta
of
go.
course, There's
Believe
also,
me.
this trailer house is being moved
This ain't
a
a big
mile,
trailer house,
maybe.
guys. This is-
Oh, it's that
This
close?
trailer
Yes.
house ain't but, well,
It's just across the highway
it's
and
more like a wheat house.
Well,
across
and that's
the street
part of-
from the cemetery.
Part of the reason for the ordinance is to make sure if a trailer house does move in, that it's set up, it looks good, you know what I mean, all those kinds of
Right.
things. It's to increase the appearance of the neighborhood, not, so people don't move the one in from 1965, it's got shotgun holes in the
You
side. We
saw
don't
the
want those down
original
there.
pictures that she took of the trailer house. It's going to be painted, it's gonna, you know, it's not gonna look like that. You know, it is an
We'll
older
have a
trailer
change
house and
around
it
the
needs
place.
to be, yeah, and there will be a fence put in eventually because there's grandkids and they run and they go crazy.
But Anyway, and they said it needed to be X amount of feet away from the road to the, south of it.
Uh-huh.
That ain't no problem. We're just moving, it will be further up than that.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be further to the north.
Yeah,
Have plenty of room.
yeah,
Yeah, permanent foundations, loose interpretation.
Right.
He talked
So-
about a permanent foundation, so
Yeah.
that counts.
Premier including accordance with food installation. Standard and specific in this chapter, of course.
Right, go to
Be
another
anchored to
chapter.
the ground, have wheels on.
Covered or removed.
Yeah.
This one ours, is this one state?
This is the state
Okay.
statute. it changed.
What I wanted to do at the end of this is to make sure that you guys know exactly what needs to be done and that we understand what needs to be done, and that, because this will probably have to be tabled, and then once those things are done, then you'll come back. I'm sorry again. I mean, this has been,
It's been going on for.
it's been going on, I
We're getting
understand.
somewhere. You know, if we can just get somewhere on this, that-
I understand,
this is one more
Block,
step
that's a public
closer.
Foundation, that's half the things in town are built that way.
yeah.
Not according to your.
So, Corey, the two things we need to tell them is what?
Well, they still need to get the consent in writing from 75% of all property owners.
Right, we need to have those other two.
And the
I know that's hard.
applicant is responsible for obtaining the names, address, and signatures of property owners. And then the owner of the manufactured home is always the occupant.
Okay, so you'd have to show that you're living there.
It says
No.
the owner
Yeah.
of the
Owner,
manufactured
manufactured
home
home.
is the occupant. And
Right.
if she's the owner,
She's
and
good.
Oh,
she lives in
oh,
it.
She's good.
okay.
That part's good.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm getting confused.
Yeah,
You
we're
and
trying
me
to do
both.
this all to meet y'all's laws and everything, you know, but we need to get it done. It's been going on for, what, 5 months now?
Probably.
Something 5, yeah.
So in the event that the other landowners are not city residents, Corey, do we need something to show that? Or do we need to,
You,
Is property owned, yeah.
or at least maybe they produce something saying they wrote to them, trying to make contact, some such?
Yeah, well, I think it says,
How you gonna get a signature?
within, it says all property owners within 75% of property owners. Within 500
Tried to
feet.
get 75% of property owners around here. Have them gone and everything, you know,
and that has been our big problem. I mean,
Mail is certified letter.
two
we have-
signatures is pretty close, so.
Is there not, you said that there were 33 around?
If I was able to vacate plats in Brinkman, Oklahoma, I think you can find it.
oh, Berkman,
Yeah.
oh, Lord.
Brinkman hasn't been in town since I think the post office closed.
I haven't seen
That's
it.
My dad
seven.
graduated from Brickman.
There's a,
What do I need to do,
I haven't
purchase
seen
a home drummer?
No, that part's
No,
good.
thinking
they
there
have
was
cleared
one
that.
there,
She's
but I
gonna be the
don't.
occupant, that part is fine.
So I need to get 2 more signatures? I mean,
Unfortunately,
And then
that's
you
how
gotta
it works. If it's
Okay.
wrote,
Bring
if it's
us-
wrote in black and white, that's what we gotta do.
you still have that list of
I mean, there's also discretionary things for y'all.
everybody?
Just because they meet the requirements, you still have to
That's-
decide
That's our copy.
that the
they've
manufactured
turned
home
in.
improves the surrounding area.
That's what they turned in.
And then, so, I mean, there's still some discretionary aspects.
So when we get this back on the table, then we could say
Yeah.
what those things, one, we need to do A, B, C, D, and then once we do that at the next meeting, and you should know ahead of time, we will know ahead of time that you guys have completed all that, and then we'll just come back and just do a
Well,
quick.
if you'll tell us what you want tonight,
Well, that's-
we'll handle it through here.
And the
That's
lot
reason
size is 7,500. Well, on mobile homes, really, the commission is the only one that can approve setting of those.
But if they
Yeah.
meet the criteria, if y'all set the criteria tonight, they bring it to City Hall and it's met to y'all's.
Oh, I see
We
what you're
can
saying.
write it out of City Hall and be done.
Instead of having another meeting.
My question is there any exceptions to the rules?
No,
If
it's the
there's
law.
If there's 10 signatures and there's only 4 people living down there, the rest of them don't even live in the United States.
It doesn't matter.
You have to show, with other things, you have to show you tried to contact them.
You go to the assessor's office and they will they will give you the address of everybody that's paying taxes on that property.
Yeah, and you have to write to them. If you can't
Right
contact them.
over there.
I've done that. Some of them live in New Mexico and California.
Yeah, I know.
I had to do it for lots I bought behind my house. I had to do it for those.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sure we can get 2 more
Okay.
signatures, and that's all we need.
Corey, do you say that's all he needs right now with what they've said?
Yeah.
That we just need the 2 signatures?
Okay.
Since it doesn't say that the property has to be owned by,
It just says-
Okay.
it just
That
says
part,
the
yeah.
trailer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so that, okay,
Well, I will tell y'all now, from what I know about trailer houses and stuff, like I was telling y'all, when I set it in there, it's not gonna be set in there where first windstorm comes through, it's gonna turn it sideways or whatever.
We can give you a copy of what the state statute says,
Yeah.
because if you meet that, you'll meet what we need.
And
So, and it's
Oh,
got
it's
in
not-
there, the foundation, all that kind of good stuff, right?
it's not that we're requesting that out of the blue, your insurance company's gonna want that too. That's the reason we do a permit, is to make sure it's in there correctly under the city code, so when you go get insurance on that, you're covered. It's not that we want something over the other.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say, it's gonna have more hurricane straps on it than what it requires, because that, no longer that trailer is, I think it required 4 on it, and, that ain't
You
gonna-
lived here for a little
I've
bit,
lived
that
in
ain't gonna get it
Oklahoma,
done.
I'm not gonna just put 4 straps on it, and no longer it is, 4 would be a plenty, you know, but I was more extra it, because I've got a granddaughter living in that thing, and I don't like mobile homes.
And she's kinda like a hurricane going through it, so.
So, but anyway.
Well, I think, get a copy, before you guys take off, get a copy of that state statute, because I will show you what's gonna be, more than likely, everything's gonna come to code.
Okay.
So that's what you're gonna have to do,
So
is get it in there, but you're gonna have to either come back with the signatures or proof that you tried to make contact
Okay,
with me.
we can handle that.
And like Corey said, assessor's office is the best place, because I've had to do that and find stuff here too.
Okay, so should at this time, to move on, should we do what you kind of recommended, is say, once they meet all of those requirements and you verify that those requirements have made, they can do it without us having another meeting?
If y'all
That's-
tell us to do it.
Can we do that, Corey?
Yeah.
Okay, so that means that you need to meet the
City ordinance.
city ordinances, and once you've done that and bring that to him, I mean, if the motion is made that way, okay, guys? Bring it to him, then he can approve that you've done all the stuff, crossed your Ts and dotted your Is, and that, it'll be approved by him once that's all met.
Okay.
If they'll
Does
come
that
in
make
tomorrow,
sense?
we'll
Does
copy
it-
this for them.
Okay,
We had the discussion of her living in the camper trailer that we have
Right.
down there.
right,
There's still not utilities down there.
yeah.
The reason
And that-
there's
and-
not utilities there is because there was a temporary placement, and that temporary placement was up.
It wasn't when I paid for the deposits.
We paid for the deposits, and we hadn't.
And
we
the
got to
temporary
use it.
placement was to get it placed, and it went through, and we didn't think to have you to extend it, so, I mean,
So
Yeah,
is,
but even if we didn't live in that trailer there, we paid for the deposits to
You
have
paid-
our utilities there, so why ain't we already got our utilities on?
yeah,
That's been over a month ago.
the utilities weren't put there after the fact that the RV was out of date, because we weren't gonna put utilities there for the mobile home until y'all approved the placement.
Well, why did you take our money that early then? Why did?
Because it all,
You told me I had
I
to pay
mean,
this.
sir, you're
to get-
asking us why we took that money early. We took it because y'all were gonna bring us the signatures and all that stuff. It's not our fault that there were 2 shy.
They said they'd have the
Okay,
electricity on
utilities
the
were
next day.
To be turned on
The next
for the
day.
camper trailer
Exactly.
for a temporary.
And when
Nobody done anything, so it run out.
the pole
Yes,
was
I agree
set,
with
the
you.
wires weren't pulled, and then that date went up, this didn't pass. It was tabled. I won't say that it didn't pass. It was tabled. So I told them guys to hold off because that wire's not cheap. And your deposit is in here, your utilities are turned on. If they approve the placement of it, your utilities will be turned on.
I'm gonna have to have utilities to get some of the stuff done.
And we'll
that y'all
do that
asking
as
me
soon
to
as
do.
this is approved.
And that's why I asked for the utilities to be on, you know. I mean, the camper trailer's beyond, I mean, not even, shouldn't even be in the conversation, because once that trailer gets there, it'll be set up, and that camper trailer's going to the farm. It was just brought up here in case she got kicked out of that house that she was in, that baby and her would have a place to stay. And that's why we set it up on a, what was it, 30-day, 45-day deal?
Yeah, 30.
But never did get the electricity or water on up there, so.
so do you normally have to wait then until they give you that
We
stuff
could have
before you
turned
can
it
turn?
on for the RV, but the date went out on the RV.
Yeah.
I wasn't turning
What
it
about
on
now? What
because
about-
I didn't have approval on the
Okay.
mobile home yet.
Okay.
I still get my utilities even if I don't get my mobile home up there.
I guess that's my question, we can put power on just an empty lot, can't we?
Well, we can on an empty lot if that's what it was asked for, but it was asked for the mobile home.
Okay.
And we
And
can
for-
put the power there. That's no problem. I just didn't do it because
Right.
the deposit was for a mobile home at this address.
I see.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So
Can we
we,
get the water and
and utilities.
electricity on down there so we can get stuff done down there?
You get two signatures and it's all over with, they'll hook up, I guess.
Okay.
But
Because
I
that's
need
what they need,
electricity
two
and water to
signatures.
do some of the work down there.
Right, right.
So, okay,
If-
the utility thing's a separate issue, I think that's just come to city hall and tell them you want power on a lot.
Yes, I
not
want
on a
power
mobile
there
home that
so
doesn't
I can
exist.
do stuff.
So that's just, you gotta
Yeah, there's a pole, they already set the pole.
do that
out.
differently, that's just city authority, because you tell Butch that you just need it on the lot, I think that's
Yeah.
okay, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, y'all have instructed us that we can give the permit if they meet the criteria, we'll go ahead and turn the utilities on for them to prepare for that.
Okay.
But if it doesn't meet the criteria and they go to moving a mobile home in, we'll have to turn it off.
Well, that's fine, but.
But it'll be
if the
turned
mobile
on.
home,
It's not an
something goes
issue.
wrong and the mobile home don't get there, we still want our electricity and water stuff
Okay.
there. You know, so, yeah, if we can get it on, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Okay, so I will make the motion that we give Butch the authority to approve this once they have met all of the concerns of the ordinance.
And then we'll work on the
This is,
trailer house. That's
you're
what-
making an amended motion.
Amended motion, sorry.
Do I have a second on the amended motion?
Second.
We have a second. Can you call for a vote, please? Or any more discussion on that? Okay, go ahead.
Kendall,
Yes.
Chapman,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
and Burnham.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. So, thank you. All right, next thing on the agenda, number 11, discussion and possible action to accept the best and the most responsible bid for the firefighter bunker gear. Please come forward. Introduce yourself.
I'm Chris Christian. I'm the assistant fire chief. We have two bids for the gear. The reason we normally wait later in the year to ask for this, but there's going to be a 5 to 10% increase come September 1st, either September 1st or October 1st. So that's why we're here so early in the year. Northern Safety is the cheapest. This is the exact same. Both quotes are for the exact same stuff. There's no difference.
No brand difference or anything?
No brand difference.
Oh, okay.
Well, the only brand difference will be in the particulate hood. One company doesn't sell the other one, but they do the exact same thing. So, but as far as the coat and pants and the helmets, they're the same.
Okay.
Boots, gloves.
So which bid is the,
We
I
would
can't bring it up right now. It's down
we
at
would
the
prefer
end.
to go with Northern Safety. They are the cheapest, and they are here in Oklahoma. They are who we went with last year.
Oh, okay.
I believe this is already budgeted for, we're just doing it early, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just 5 to 10% is an awful lot of money,
Absolutely.
and things are just getting higher.
By the minute.
So,
And the reason why I don't do a discussion and, ask for a motion and stuff is because when you're looking at bids and stuff, it's so hard to make a motion to approve a certain bid when you haven't
right.
talked about the bid. So in just a minute, well, then we'll make the motion.
Okay.
Somebody will make a motion to accept what you recommend.
And that's
Okay.
got everything you guys are gonna need, right? We didn't
Yes.
cut anything out of the list for.
No, that's everything. That's 2 sets of structural firefighting gear, head to toe, and that is 6 sets of what they call dual certified gear, and it is grass gear / extrication gear. It will actually save us from wearing our structural gear to car accidents and not getting it ripped up. And the structural gear is more expensive than the dual certified gear. So we're trying to save from ripping up the expensive stuff on car accidents and grass fires.
Okay. Said Northern Safety.
Northern Safety.
Northern Safety.
Yeah, they're out of Oklahoma City.
Is that all you have for us? Or is there something else?
On that part, we do have, I think we're on again
Oh, okay, that'll be the
for the
next
next
one.
one, so.
Okay, so let's
But
do.
it's a different item.
Okay, so do I have a motion?
I will make the motion to accept the bid from Northern Safety.
All right, second.
I'll make a second.
We have a second. Would you call for a vote, please?
Kendall,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Chapman,
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, number 12, it says, discussion possible action to accept the best and most responsible bid for the fire department command vehicle. Okay,
Okay. We are looking at a pickup for a command vehicle that will, like the wildfire that we had south of town. This pickup will be set up with dual radios. It will be set up for a laptop. We can use like Google Maps or Google Earth or whatever.
See from behind.
GeoSafe. We can see the terrain and everything. Have a command vehicle that's nothing but to be in charge. We are not set up that way right now. And that's what this is going to, that's what this would be used for. The quote is on the state contract, and it is the only vehicle I could find.
I think it's the only provider.
Do I?
I believe it's a single provider right now, dude.
Yes, Chevy opened up their contract for 24 hours. I contacted 4 different dealerships, and this is the only dealership that had a vehicle. There is also, when we get this, it will come with lights, sirens. It'll come with everything but the radios. We'll just drop the radios in. It doesn't have the stickering on the outside. That was way above the budget. But we have checked, and that can be done at a later time, and it can also be done cheaper locally. So, but there is a list of lights and everything that will come on it.
okay. And what is the bid?
It will be a 2023 Chevy Silverado 1500 crew cab. The bid on it is $43,569, and then the upfit for the lights, sirens, and all of that is $11,426.25.
So what's the total?
The total was 40. We were budgeted 20. We were budgeted 55,
Okay.
and Billy has the total.
54,995.20.
Boy, you just made it.
I think I'm within $5.
Wow. I bet we can get some stickers to throw on the
Yeah,
side.
Right.
Mangum.
Right. Like I said, I contacted 4 or 5 different dealerships. Ford has not opened up for anything, and neither has Dodge. And they don't know if they are. It's so
Ford.
hard to find vehicles.
Ford stopped their state bids and went to a government bid, and it's
So.
not near what the state bids were.
Well, we had
Right.
talked about this vehicle back in February, I think. No, I guess it was about budget time, so it was a little bit later. We had talked
Yeah,
about
it was,
a command
it
vehicle.
was like
Right.
in April.
Yeah, I think originally you guys, something was mentioned about a Tahoe, right? And then you guys.
Right,
changed
and
it
I
to
priced
have
the
it
Tahoe.
truck Unit instead.
And it was actually more expensive
Oh,
than
I
the
don't doubt
pickup.
that.
And it was going to cost more to upfit.
Yeah,
So
okay.
this is actually the cheapest.
And we feel like this is.
But this is from all the phone calls, this is what I feel is the cheapest.
Well, do we feel like it's gonna do the job?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right, anything else?
Not unless there's any questions.
What's
Okay.
the purpose of the red 1-ton? Was that not originally bought?
No, that was, the red 1-ton was given to us through a state grant. That vehicle was given to us to fight fire off of. It was not given to us to be a command vehicle. So through the conversations I've had with our fire coordinator, our district fire coordinator and everything, if the state wanted to come in and throw a fit, they could with that pickup because it's not being used for what it was given to us for. It was not a command vehicle. It was to fight fire off of. It was a brush truck. So as of right now, we're not in compliance with that.
We're not in compliance?
No.
But if you ever needed to see a need for a command vehicle, I mean, we had a couple weeks ago. How many fire stations do we have down here helping with that?
Oh.
Right.
Yeah.
Jackson County bring their command over?
Yes.
So we're relying on someone else being able to, because if they'd had another fire somewhere else, we might not have got those guys.
Right.
So it's one of those things, yeah, it's a lot of money, but it's money we need to spend for when that kind of stuff happens. We're prepared to deal with it, so.
Right.
And I was
And-
3,500 miles away when that happened, so good job.
Thank you.
Guys, 'cause I was watching on Facebook trying to get
The
back.
1-ton is not, like I said, it is not set up for a command. It's set up to put a guy on and go fight fire.
Okay. It's under budget, so
Yeah,
I'll make the motion to accept the bid.
okay. We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Sir.
We have a second by Burnham. Please call for a vote.
Kendall,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Chapman,
No.
Peterson.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much. Executive session, discussion possible action to enter into executive session to discuss the employment, hiring, appointment, promotion, demotion, disciplining, or resignation of any individual salaried public officer or employee, specific the raise of the fiscal year for the city clerk in accordance with 25OS 307B1. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the
I
motion.
have a motion to go to executive session. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Call for a vote, please.
Kendall,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Chapman.
Yes.
I believe on number 15, or 16, number 16, there's no action. And then on number 17, the swearing in, we're going to need to wait till we have some more paperwork to swear you in, so we'll probably do that in September and get all that done, so we won't do
Need
that
to sign
tonight.
some stuff.
Yeah, you got to sign some
We
stuff
just
and all
need
that
to
kind of stuff.
Table it for now then.
Yes, yes, it'll be tabled, okay? All right. So at this point, staff and board remarks, inquiries by the governing body, city manager, city attorney, or city employees. Anybody have anything they'd like to say?
So guys, I've got one. This will be my last meeting on the city commission. I was offered an employment opportunity that I can't, in good responsibility, turn down. And that means that I won't be here for the next 6 months, so I'd miss too many meetings. So it's been an honor to serve you guys. I'll still be helping out as much as I can when I'm home, but I won't be able to make meetings, so I can't fulfill my duty of office. So this will be my last time up at this table in front of you guys. Appreciate it, man.
Well, we do, we definitely do. You're gonna be missed. And we will, we appreciate everything that you've done and all of that. Is there anybody else?
I would like to address something. I'm a little confused on why the city is going to spend money to accommodate moving of sewer lines and or water lines or whatever it is north of town when the person who built the home there built it either over or next to the easement lines, knowing so, and took up more land than he needed to. It doesn't make sense to me. If you're gonna take up that easement, and that easement needs to be replaced, then that body building that property needs to pay, not the city, in my opinion. And we go through and jump through hoops to do this for this gentleman, which I happen to like very much, but yet we're going to raise all kinds of cane and 3, 4, 5 months, whatever it is, to get an electric pole turned on south of town.
You don't know all the
It doesn't make any
details.
sense.
You don't know all the details.
I know I don't know all the details, that's the one last thing I do want to say. I spoke here last month, and the reason we took out and voted in new council members was to get some changes here in this town. So, with that being said, Madam Mayor, I hope that you're considering stepping down. I do.
Sir, I am not, but thank you very much for your opinion.
Well, that is my opinion.
Yeah, it is.
And we would like to see you go.
And you know, the thing is, what's so funny about all that, when you say that, is that I don't even have a vote.
But you have influence.
Oh, okay.
You do.
Hmm.
All right, that's all I have to say.
Okay, anybody else? If there's no other, I'll entertain is there new business?
Corey may tell me I can't do this. We had a young man on the agenda, and I was waiting on an answer from the wildlife management, specifically Brandon Lehrman. They're wanting to bring we took him off the agenda, and then I got an answer about 3 to 3:30. So I hate to make him wait another month, and I think we're okay, so can I talk about it?
Yeah, not unreasonably unforeseen.
He wants to bring a dwarf caiman.
What's that?
It's a 4 to 5 foot alligator.
Well, it's a caiman, not an alligator.
But it's a dwarf.
Caiman is a species of crocodile related
But,
to alligators and crocodiles.
But, well, you'll get a kick out of
Native
this next
from
one.
South America.
He's wanting to purchase it in Florida and bring it in, and I don't know where he's living now, but I found out that it will be within a block of Edison School. We don't have anything right now that we see that would prevent that. Brandon Lehrman called me today at 3:30, and he said the only thing that is against the law to have in the state of Oklahoma is an alligator. A crocodile and a dwarf caiman, you can't. So, I just hate to put him off. And I took him off because I wanted an answer from the wildlife.
To see what the legalities
To
are.
see, and
I feel like there's no law preventing it, there's not a whole lot we can do against it. I mean,
That's the way we
we
see
gather
it,
up 6,000
but I want-
rattlesnakes every year, nobody seems to mind.
He did have, my understanding is he also had his non-commercial
and
breeder's license.
he
He's got
gets a
license.
permit every
Yeah.
year for some snakes.
So he has all
He
his
tries, and-
permits.
And he's not hiding anything from the wildlife, but I just wanted y'all in on the decision. We didn't, at first, the ordinance says that it's prohibited for the keeping of a wild animal. A wild animal is anything that's not normally domestic or tamed. Wasn't that the way it read? That's in question, but the state would allow it.
Yeah, alligators,
Follow state statute.
since alligators are found in Oklahoma, they would follow under the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Code. But since they're actually considered a game species, but caimans, I think, are native to South America, so they would not fall within the jurisdiction. Yeah.
His request said that the females was 4 to 5 feet and the male were
I
4
can
and
go
a half
get
to
that if you
5
want
and a
that.
half.
Is he just wanting one?
No, I think he's wanting 2.
He's
I think he's
bringing-
wanting a male and a
He's gonna
female.
breed them in a
He's gonna
swimming pool? Like, how's that-
breed-
He said they're gonna be under lock and key. I mean,
Well, I think
he has
that,
petitioned.
I think under his license, you have to have a certain like terrarium like type setting and it's so many feet for them to grow in and, okay. Alright.
I will say no comment as to the Wildlife Department's inspection of facilities.
Okay, so I guess are we saying yay or nay? You want us to
There's
vote?
not really a motion on it, because we have
Because
no
we don't have
ordinance
an
against it, there's no
ordinance
law
against
against
it,
it,
so
so I
And I
guess.
just want y'all to be aware of it.
For
I
information.
mean, Bill and I talked about it and I didn't see anything that we could do to prevent
Yeah,
it.
there's been weirder things coming
Yeah,
down.
but just FYI.
Yeah, that's what we're bringing out here in Durban.
5 foot is the wall.
That's what he said. That's what we thought when it said 4 to 5 feet.
Is that all you had for new business?
Yes.
Okay, and there's no action on this because it's allowed by the law, right? So there's no action. At this moment, if there's no other new business, anybody else have any comments, questions? No? Then we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Let's see, pick one, Mark, or, and we have a motion and a second. Call for a vote, please.
Kindle,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Chapman.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries. We're adjourned. We'll go right into the MUA meeting.
Hey, Irma.
Did we yet?
That's not, that's just my notes.
Maybe. Yeah.
Just let you know that we're gonna start the
Yeah.
Mangum,
Utilities.
Well,
Oh, I got it.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to call the meeting to order for the Mangum Utility Authority. Would you please do a roll call?
can you wait 1 second so I can get that closed?
Sure.
He's gonna live here. No, he's lived here all.
That's one of our longest meetings.
He was living on Tyler, now he's over on Byers.
You ready? Okay, go ahead and make a roll call, please.
Scott,
Here?
Kindle,
Here.
Burnham,
Here.
Peterson,
Here.
Chapman.
Here.
Okay, we do have a quorum. The consent agenda, there's 3 items, the 7/5/22 regular meeting minutes, the July 22 claims, and the June 22 financials. Is there any item you'd like to have removed off the consent agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Peterson, second by Kendall. Call for a vote.
Scott,
Yes.
Kindle,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Chapman.
Yes.
Okay, next item on the agenda is remarks or inquiries by the audience not pertaining to any other item on the agenda. This is about the utility authority. Anybody have any questions or comments you'd like to make to the board? Okay, if not, we'll go right on to item 4, discussion and possible action to accept the bid from the A&A Fence Company for the fencing at the water tower. This fencing is a requirement from the DEQ. We only received the one estimate.
Our north water tower.
Oh, excuse me, I need to call for a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second,
Second.
discussion. Go ahead.
Carry on.
Sorry.
North Water.
No, that's okay, I
North
forgot
water
to.
tower there's a pasture up there and there's a barbed wire fence on the east and south side of the tower. DEQ has told us by March, we have to have that as chain link fence with 3 rows of barbed wire protecting all of this. It's gotta be 9-gauge wire, it's gotta be certain size post, it's gotta be certain size this, certain size that. That's the reason people have backed off. We've received 1 bid from A&A, and before I go any further, we had another bid that was done over here where they tore the building down by the fire station, and that material's going up daily.
Oh, it's outrageous.
We didn't realize how many months, 3 months on how much was that bid? 6,000? 7,000? It changed to $185. So get ready on this change because this is gonna strictly go up because of metal. A&A Fence has bid it at $20,354.
What?
How many feet of fence?
It is 608 running feet, 6 feet high, three barbed wires with the deals out on the barbed wire, 9-gauge wire, line posts are 2 3/8 instead of the, I think they're 2 1/8 down to
They want the
inch
big
and
poles all the
something.
way
Yeah.
across.
Corner posts are 3 inch, about 10 1/2.
That's actually not far off. My fence cost me $6,000.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
yeah,
right.
it's
4
chain
foot.
link,
I
but
was
it
gonna say,
sounds.
that's pretty
like-
cheap.
That's,
Yeah.
is it 6 foot enough? It's not, it's supposed to be,
It's 6.
DQ doesn't make us do 8?
No,
Okay, I'm
this
just
is,
making
and
sure.
this is under DEQ specs.
Okay.
Did you put that in there,
I
If
don't
you
know
want,
whether
I
did
mean,
or
I can
not.
pass around and read it to you,
I
but
think
it's,
I
this
did.
is spec'd through DEQ. And he put a bid in here a while back, and I missed the 3 strands of barbed wire, so I had to go back and get another bid. But he wants it to be known, it'll be close to that, but it's gonna go up daily. And
It'll be whenever he buys the metal.
yes, and his uppage is only gonna be the cost of the material. He's not gonna go up on labor or anything like
How far
that,
behind is he?
cement. What's that?
How far behind is he?
He is calling a locate in for this fence over here as we speak, so probably in the next month.
Okay.
But this bid was, he sent that to me on an email, I don't remember the date, do you?
That's all right.
I don't.
It-
I'll
it's-
make
Was
the motion
last
to
week.
accept, because that's within means.
Do we have the
Cost out fencing
20,000?
for other places.
That
That's about
20,000,
right.
I think, can come out of that, what he call that we're fixing the street with down by your house. It's COVID money, but that's not how y'all have it tagged. But that's what it would have to come out of.
You mean the
Can we
ARPA?
use that
A-
money for
AARP.
that?
Yeah, you can use it, you can use it for anything.
Okay.
As Dave said, we could use it
Yeah,
for
it's,
that.
that's anything money.
And this
Which is
has to be
pretty much what we
done,
saved. It's what we
That-
saved, so it'll get us a fence.
this has to be done by March, so I mean, we have plenty of time, but it's like Manny said, it's steadily going up.
Yeah.
But this has to be done.
Yeah, we have to follow the guidelines.
Otherwise, we'll be paying a whole lot more than that.
Yeah, the fine will be 20,000 through DEQ.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Would you call for a vote, please?
Scott,
Yes.
Kendall,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Chapman.
Yes.
Okay, item carries. Number 5, discussion possible action to negotiate an independent contractor contract with Fred Willis.
He's not here,
He just texted me and had an emergency and asked if y'all would mind tabling.
Okay. So we will table that at this time. Any staff or board member remarks on the MUA? Any new business, Butch?
Nope.
No new business. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Second,
Second.
call for a vote.
Scott,
Yes.
Kendall,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Peterson,
so. Yes.
Chapman.
Yes.
Okay, meeting is adjourned.
Thank you so much.
That battery's almost dead now. but it
Yes.
was-